What's up, creepers? I'm Kevin. This is Haunted by Horror, and today I'm talking about the brand new Hellraiser film. Alright, let's do this. So, the new Hellraiser movie was released today. I just watched it and I really want to talk about it. I'll try to refrain from spoilers as it did just come out, but I'm very excited about what this film means for the franchise. This is definitely the best looking Hellraiser movie that we've gotten in a very long time, which makes sense given the fact that it has the highest budget of a Hellraiser film in decades. And it's exciting to finally be able to watch this film, especially since we've been waiting for this for about 15 years at this point. I feel that I have to bring up the fact that Hellraiser is now officially a Disney franchise, with this new film even releasing on Disney Plus in some areas, meaning that the true ruler of hell is actually Mickey Mouse.
In this version, the lament configuration looks more puzzle-like than it ever has. It certainly doesn't seem like you could accidentally open it by rubbing your thumb on it. And an interesting element that's been added is that it requires blood in order to summon the Cenobites, including Pinhead, the priest of hell, played in this film by Jamie Clayton. And she brings a sensuality to the role that I frankly believe should have been there from the start. Not to detract from Doug Bradley's iconic, almost Shakespearean portrayal of the character, and certainly not to imply that Bradley wasn't sexy in the role. He definitely was. But Clayton's portrayal just seems to fit the character as described in Clive Barker's original novella extremely well, and there are clearly elements of her portrayal that pay tribute to Bradley's performance. There have always been strong sexual undertones in the Hellraiser franchise, especially with regard to the Cenobites, and this film just brings them to the surface more than some of the previous films. I do feel that the film is still missing some of the more masochistic elements that I've always wanted to see more of in the franchise, and which are heavily implied by the very look of the Cenobites. They are, after all, beings who have experienced pain and pleasure indivisible. It's a 2 hour film, which does take some time to get going. A lot of time is spent in world building, which, if you, like myself, are already a fan of the franchise, you may find unnecessary and even tedious. But if this is your first introduction to the world of the Cenobites, you may be grateful for all of the world building, since you don't have to wade through 10 films worth of lore. Though, to be honest, you would really only have to watch the first two, and if you haven't seen those first two movies, then I would still recommend watching them, as this film pays homage to a lot of the iconic imagery of those films. Just as the music in this film pays homage to the original score, which was absolutely necessary, and this really wouldn't feel like a Hellraiser film without that. In the film, Riley, who is played by Odessa Azion, is a recovering addict. She, along with her boyfriend Trevor, break into a storage unit owned by a billionaire, and the only thing inside is the lament configuration, which they then steal, and pretty soon, all hell breaks loose. The makeup work is really impressive. They've moved away from the leather-clad BDSM look of the Cenobites in the earlier films, and the Cenobite designs are both elegant and grotesque. And the Cenobites have a decent amount of screen time, which is great to see since the Cenobites are usually relegated to nothing more than background characters. Many of the kills feel a bit lackluster since we've seen them before, but they're nevertheless well executed. There isn't as much gore in this film, and as a longtime Hellraiser fan, I found that a little disappointing. But I do understand the reasoning, as this film tends to focus much more on the psychological driven terror of the characters within the story, with a lot of emphasis on the character development of Riley working through her past regrets and trying to redeem herself, while still struggling with addiction and literally going through hell. Don't misunderstand me, there is gore in this film, it just doesn't quite rise to the level of some of the earlier Hellraiser films. Overall, It thoughtfully recontextualizes this iconic franchise in a way that is fresh and yet still satisfying for longtime fans. I love that we delve into the world of the Cenobites more than we have in a very long time. Though, despite the runtime, there are still things that I feel could have been explored further. The film is actually a bit too long, in my opinion, and the first half is pretty slow, but after all of the straight to video releases and extremely low budget Hellraiser movies that have been made solely to retain the rights to the franchise, this is the Hellraiser movie that fans deserve. And it makes me much more confident about what we have in store for us in future installments of the Hellraiser franchise.
Well, that's going to be about it for now. I want to talk about this film again once it's not so fresh and I can really talk about the spoilers and get into all the details without ruining the movie for people. Um, I'm very excited about this. I'm glad that we got this movie. And yeah, if you like this video, can you hit the like button? You can also subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this and turn on notifications to be updated whenever I upload a new video. And until next time, keep on creeping on.